and women of the gospel, to friends and family, Sister Allen. To be here is just an honor to talk about my friend. Every time I come to Mansfield, I'm reminded of two things. Number one, the fact that I met my daughter's mom here. Because if I hadn't met her, she wouldn't be here. She is the best thing that happened to me since salvation. The second thing that I'm reminded of when I'm here is the choir, the music of Memorial. 1993, Pastor Taylor, it was my choir first.
All right, please.
And boy, what a time, Pastor Ford, we had. Sister Allen sang the first song when I got here. She sang it, and her son played the organ. When I left here 6 years later, he came with me.
All right. Yes, he did. Stole him.
And was by my side to death. It was nothing for me to look to my right and say, Pat, let's ride out of here. And Pat would start to play the song that he knew was fitting for me.
All right, now.
I will never forget my friend. There's a gap in between the bio that was read. For 10 years, I was the pastor of the New Journey Worship Center in Baker, Louisiana. I recently gave over the reins to just not another pastor, but a brother. Pastor Peel, would you just wave in? That's my pastor right there, along with Pat's pastor. One of the things Pat would do, Pat would lie to me. Pat made me think I could sing. Pat would say, come on, Pastor, you can do it. Taylor, he'd come to the house and practice with me. And Sister Al, I knew that Sabbath I was going to hoop and sing. And the moment he said, come on, Pastor, the words would just leave my head. The tune would leave. And I would just stare at you like I'm doing now. When Pastor Ford was saying, give me an A, B, I would always ask for a Z, because that was all I knew. All I knew. If you have your Bibles, Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 19. Just a few moments, if you don't mind. Jeremiah 10, chapter 14. Woe, I'm hurt. I am grieved. I am dying. But I can handle this. For just a few moments with your prayers, I want to talk about learning to handle your hurts. Sister Al, I was in the airport the other day and I picked up a magazine and I was reading about one of my favorite R&B singers, Mary J. Blige. Y'all too holy for me, boy. In the article, Sister Allen, it talked about her ascent from a self-prima donna to a self-assured queen of R&B. The author talked about her expeditious ride and many falls that she had to endure along the way. And she chronicled all of her hurts in all of her albums, starting with What's Up with the 411, to her self-proclaimed album, I Don't Want to Cry No More, to No More Drama, to Real Love, then the other one called Growing Pains. Finally, after several years of rehab, failed relationship and breakups and childhood abusiveness and the death of her grandmother, she now proclaims that every day is not perfect, but with everything she said that I've been through, when I have a good day, it is worth celebrating. Yeah. She said, church, that every day is not perfect, but because I've been through something, every have a good day, I'm celebrating that I'm alive. She reflects on the year that she went to the Oscar and how she met Oprah Winfrey and how Oprah said to her, you know, when I met you, Mary, I really didn't like you. But when I got to know you, I realized who you were. To which Mary shot back and said, I understand, Oprah, because I didn't like me either. But when I got to know me, I realized who I was. Oprah went on to tell Mary J., Sister Allen, that she is like a redwood in the forest. You see, a redwood is the strongest tree in the forest. It is impervious to rotting, to fire, to insect. The redwood can only self-destruct. I don't know if Jeremiah was here, if he would have listened to my girl Mary J., but as I read his words, I dare say, as he thought about the plight of himself, as he thought about the plight of Israel, as he thought about the plight of the dyingness all around him, I do believe that if he had listened to my girl Mary J., he would have found some comfort in knowing he wasn't the only one that was going through some hurt. We hear him crying and bemoaning in chapter 10, for in chapter 10, Jeremiah was known as the weeping prophet. And he has been talking about how unhappy he is, how disdainful he feels about the call that's on his life. And in the New Testament, in the New International King James Version, Jeremiah uses 25 words. He said, I'm hurt, I'm wounded, I'm filled with grief, but I can handle it. Ooh, I feel like preaching. His entire frame of mind, he wraps it up in just one verse. And what Jeremiah teaches me today, and hopefully for you, that you got to make up in your mind that you're going to cancel your pity party. You're going to unpack your baggage, and you're not going to go on any more guilt trips. Jeremiah, in his self-pity, he says, I'm wounded, I'm in pain. Y'all, he says, I'm hurt. Now you got to understand that there are several types of hurt. The first type of hurt is self-inflicted hurt. Yeah. Self-inflicted hurt is the type of hurt you cause by your own choices, by your own decisions, by some of the people that you decided to hang out with. You can't blame other people, but you have to conclude, I did this to myself. See, most of us want to project our pain and our hurt onto somebody else, and that's the reason why we act like we act. But some pain is from some stuff that we did to ourselves. Touch somebody, say, he's talking to me right now. The second level of hurt is other inflicted hurt. It's the pain that somebody else inflicts on you. And some of the greatest pain that has ever been inflicted on you is by somebody you assumed you could trust. Family member, former friend. I mean, you could understand it if it was an enemy. You could understand it if it was somebody you didn't know. But most of our other inflicted hurt come from people who came to your house, rode in your car, ate at your table, rang your cell phone, slept in your bed, and it's a painful thing to be hurt by somebody you thought you could trust. But the kind of pain, Pastor Andre, I want to talk about this afternoon, is a pain that we don't talk about much, and it's going to make some of y'all real shaky. Because there's another level to this hurt. This is not the hurt that you did to yourself. This is not the pain that someone else afflicted on you. But the one that I'm talking about this afternoon, Pastor Bill, is the type of pain that you go through at the allowance or the hand of God. Have you ever considered something, Sister Allen, that some of the stuff that we've been through, God orchestrated for us to go through it? Okay, some of y'all looking at me like I'm a beauty queen. Some of y'all looking super saved. Let me go to the scripture to prove it. There was two sisters named Mary and Martha, who called out to Jesus, come quick, because the one you love has died. Jesus says, I'm not coming right now because his sickness is not unto death. It is so that the glory of God can be manifested. Hold up, Jesus. Are you saying that you know I'm in pain? Are you saying that you know I'm hurt? Are you saying that you could have stopped this situation at any time? You could have stopped the suffering anyhow in the middle of it? You doing it so you can get some glory? Well, God, I'll go ahead and give you the glory right now. Come in, Job. Satan is looking for a candidate. God volunteered Job, put pain on Job. Job said to the devil, I'm confident that he can handle the hurt that you throw at him, and he will bless me anyhow. Have you ever considered that some of the stuff, some of the heartache, some of the grief, some of the pain, some of the hurt that you go through is because God gave the devil permission to mess with you? Because God had enough confidence in you, Sister Allen, that he knew that your faith would not fail. Have you ever considered that God may have drafted you, put your name on the betting table of life because he had so much confidence in you that no matter what the devil tried to do to you, you could still stand up and say, the Lord did it and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Listen. Job was minding his own business. Then all of this stuff went down, messed with his stuff, broke up his family, broke up his financial stability, killed his children. And God said, do all of that and what? But see what he's still going to praise me. I know I'm talking to somebody right now because you feel like Satan is messing with your life, messing with your stuff, messing with your job, messing with your family, messing with your peace. But let me prove to you how I know God put the right bet on the person, because here you are. You could have been any place else, but here you are saying, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. God is looking at somebody saying, I knew I had the right one. Because no matter what you're going through, no matter how rough it gets, no matter how dark the night gets, no matter how many mountains you got to climb, you'll waking up every day saying, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. But it's because God knew that you had greater power in you than the pain that surrounds you. See, what the devil tries to do, Sister Allen, is intensify your pain so that you think the pain is too much for you to bear. But what he don't know is God has given you a reservoir of power so that your power is bigger than your pain. That's why you shout like you shout. That's why you praise like you praise. That's why you worship him like you worship him. That's why you speak to folks you don't even like, because your praise is more powerful than your pain. As a matter of fact, it's so powerful that you don't look like what you've been going through right now. Somebody has been through so much pain, so bad, that there were days you didn't feel like getting up out of the bed. There were days you watched the phone ring and act like you didn't hear it. There were nights you couldn't sleep. But I may have about 3 of y'all right now who can say, yeah, I went through it, and all I can say is through it all. I learned to trust in Jesus. I learned to trust in God. That's what we find Jeremiah. He's in pain. He's hurting. Pastor Taylor, we discovered that part of his pain is because he's having to take an assignment he didn't ask for.
Yes, sir.
Part of the pain Jeremiah has to deal with is that he was holy enough to say yes to God. And now he's hurt because he took an assignment he didn't ask for. He's in pain because God has given him something to do that ain't going to be popular. And God told him to go tell the people to get ready to face destruction. The city is going to burn. The temple is going to collapse. The nation is going to be in ruin. He said, and you got to go through all of this because you the preacher. And I'm looking at somebody right now. You are dealing with some deep hurt, some deep wounds. You are living a life of self-pity.
You came to work.
You can't even pretend like everything is going all right. You're miserable. You're miserable to be around. And the devil wants you to feel sorry for yourself. But today you need to know that there's healing if you learn how to handle your hurts. It's right here in the verse. Jeremiah shows me how we can turn our hurts into a hallelujah. Are you ready? Here we go. The first thing, you need to write this down, make this your next tattoo. Here it is. The first thing you've got to learn is how to claim it without it claiming you. Preach, black man. I'm doing the best I can. One of the phrases I keep hearing from the people of God, they're saying things like, we're not participating in the recession no more. We are weeping free church. We only have joy in our church. Now, I know that sounds holy, and it sounds faithful, and it sounds good until you get back home and look at them bills. Because bills ain't going to disappear just because you claim you ain't going to participate in them. I went to one church and the brother had a big sign talking about, this is the recession-free zone church. I said, okay, put that on your bill when you send it in. So we act like we claim these things because it makes us sound holy. And so we want to portray to others that we are hurt on the inside, but we really want to look holy on the outside. In other words, I like what the poet James Baldwin said. He said, you can't fix what you won't face. Listen. The beginning of your healing is to admit that I've been hurt. Healing is the process of recovering from a wound. So if you can't ask for healing until you acknowledge first that you got a wound. See, sometimes you got to be honest enough to admit what you're feeling is not pleasing. I'm tired of these church folks who always want to act like they ain't never gone through nothing. They ain't never been through nothing. And they stick their nose up a pomposity and they act like they get on your nerve because you talk about what you've been through. Listen to me. It takes real maturity to say, I'm a Christian, but I've been hurt. And every now and then people hurt me, I hurt me, things hurt me. Sometimes God makes me mad and I don't understand why I'm going through it. And then the only way to deal with it, you got to be honest about it. That's right. Tell somebody, tell them, quit being holy and be honest. Watch what Jeremiah said. Watch what he said. He said, whoa! The word woe is a funeral term. It was what the funeral procession would cry out as the body was being carried to the cemetery. He said, whoa! In other words, I hurt like I'm dying. I feel like my life is over. My heart has been severely wounded. I'm so wounded that I feel like I'm going to die. God, who am I talking to? Because there's so many folks who come to church week after week. They look good on the outside. They clap good. They dress good. They sing good. But deep down on the inside, they feel like they have no life. They feel like they might as well die. Jeremiah said, whoa! Somebody needs to know that acting like you have no problems and acting like no pain has ever come your way, it doesn't make you holy, but it does make you a liar. That's right. Sometimes you got to say, yes, I'm hurt. I hurt me. Sometimes something, situation has wounded me. And I've discovered something, y'all, that the best deliverance comes after you've been honest about your attitude and your condition. Okay, all right. The best praise you will ever have is when you've been open about what you've been going through, and then when God delivers you, you can shout better because you know that what you're feeling and what you're honest about, you have come through it. Is there anybody in here other than me that God has delivered you when you couldn't pay your bills, when you were sicker than sick, when you were mad as fire, when you felt like life was over, when God delivered you and brought you out and took care of you, you shouted, almost tore up the place that you were in when you were honest enough to say, I didn't think I could make it. I didn't think I could get out of this, but God brought me through it. Let me see if I can help you. Jesus says, come unto me, all ye that are heavy laden, heavy spirited and weary. And look what he says, then I will give you what? Which means you don't get rest until you come. You don't come until you admit that you're hurt. So if you can't admit that you're weak, if you can't admit that you're heavy spirited, then you're not going to get the rest that God has for you. You got to be honest. I hurt. I'm tired of crying. I'm tired of waking up mad and don't know why I'm mad. I'm tired of feeling like God doesn't care. When you can start admitting that, then you're on the road to healing. That's right. He said, claim it without it claiming you. Here's the second one. Put it in proper perspective. The word, he says, I'm hurt. My wound is severe. Black folks don't know what to shout. You missed that. But, okay, I'm hurt. My wound is severe. That's my honesty. And now I'm going to put my honesty into perspective. But, okay, all right. Come here, my teachers. Come here. Y'all know it. Y'all know but is a conjunction. Yes, sir. Y'all remember conjunction? Okay, come on back to Sunday morning cartoon. Conjunction, junction. Yeah, conjunction is a word that brings subordination to the first phrase because of the power of the second phrase. It's a convening conjunction. Preach, Maceo. I'm doing it, boy. See, whenever it comes after, when but ever comes after, but is so powerful that whatever you said before, the but is just totally negated because of the power that is on the other side of the word but. Okay, but suggests that as bad as things look right now, Sister Allen, on the other side, there's a bright side somewhere. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Weeping may endure for a night. Joy comes in the morning. You got trouble on every side, and now you're discouraged, but not distressed. But persecuted, but not dismayed. Forsaken, but not forgotten. Right then, it looks like everything is going to get worse, but God comes through with the authority of his penmanship and puts a but right there in the middle of your situation. So you can say, I know what I feel, but since God is in control, I'm not going to be in this for the rest of my life. You might have had a rough week. I got bills I got to pay. I got enemies on every side. I got a supervisor getting on my last nerve. But no weapon formed against me shall be able to prosper. Look at somebody and say, baby, I got a but for your situation. Because God is on the other side if you just hang in there. Because the race is not given to the swift or to the strong, but to him who endures to the end. Lord, I wish somebody could say, I got drama, I got issues, I got Negroes and Negresses messing with me. They won't leave me alone. I know I made some bad choices, but he looked beyond my faults and saw every one of my needs. Is there anybody in here that God put a butt in the middle of their situation? But God's gonna turn it around. But God's gonna flip the script. But God's gonna deliver me. But God's gonna take me higher. But God's gonna pay my bills. But God's gonna heal my marriage. But God's gonna deliver my child. But God's gonna wipe my eyes. But God's gonna fight my battles. But God's gonna restore my joy. But God's gonna give me peace. That's why I shout like I shout. That's why I praise like I praise. That's why I dance like I dance. Because God has a butt in my situation. I got one more thing, and I gotta go. I have 14 hours to run. Here I go. Claim it without it claiming you. Sister Allen, put it in proper perspective. But here's the last one, Sister A. Here it is. Own it. Own it. He says, this is my grief. This is my hurt. Now, if it's my grief, then it belongs to me. If it belongs to me, then that means it's assigned to me. And if it's assigned to me, then it does not have authority over me. Okay. It's mine. It belongs to me. If it belongs to me, it's assigned to me. If it's assigned to me, then it doesn't have authority over me. Y'all missing your best shout. Now, what you need to understand is this. You have to learn, here it is, how to enact your authority over your situation. Boy, if you don't preach, I'm going to slap you again. Here it is. Listen. Get your eyes off of somebody else's hurt. And off of somebody else's grief. Quit listening to folks to tell you how you need to grieve. How you need to cry. How long you need to grieve. How long you need to cry. Bible said this is your hurt. This is what you got to go through. And then, I'm doing the best I can here. He said, since it's my hurt, me and God will get me out of this together. Okay, all right. Let me prove it. Let me go bowling. Let me hit some strikes. Here it is. When you go back, Sister Allen, to the book of Genesis, you will discover, Elder Ford, that God put a principle into place. Pastor Taylor, he's allowing Adam to name the animals. Because in naming the animals, it gives Adam authority over what he names. Stay with me. I'm getting ready to bowl. I'm hitting a strike. See, if you just get bold enough, Sister Allen, to lay claim on what you feel, that's the beginning of you taking authority over it. If you just call it what it is. Because until you call it what it is, you can't take authority over it. Okay, y'all don't want to talk to me. You know, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning. No, call it what it is. It's called depression. Because until you call it what it is, you can't take control over it. You know, I'm just not a people person. No, call it what it is. Insecurity. See, when you name it, Sister Allen, then you have authority over it to say, in the name of Jesus, I take authority over insecurity. Cancer in my body, in the name of Jesus, I take authority over you. Discouragement, in the name of Jesus, I take authority over you. You got to get to a point where you name what's hurting you. And when you call the name of Jesus and ask him to take authority over it. Jeremiah said to my sister, sometimes you got to learn how to talk to yourself. Every now and then, you ain't needing a word from somebody. You ought to have enough word in you that you ain't got to wait on Sabbath to get a word. You ought to have enough word in you. You don't need a preacher to give you a word. There ought to be so much word up in here, that you can speak a word over yourself. You just got to put it in proper perspective. See, some folks need a preacher to get a word. But you need to have a word for yourself. Some folks tell me, Pastor, I didn't get you fed today. Okay, you should have come. You should have ate breakfast this morning. You should have come with a snack. You should have something that's going to get you through just in case you ain't got a word up in here. Listen. He says, it's my grief. It's my hurt. And since it's a sign to me, here's what he says, Sister Allen, I'm done. He says, I got to bear it. Maybe the reason some people can't heal is because you are asking God to take something that's assignment is not done yet. You got to come to my church one day. I'm going to tell you my story. Maybe the reason you're struggling right now is because you are asking God to deliver you from something where the assignment in your life ain't over with. And what you ought to be asking and saying is what Jeremiah said. It's mine. And since it's assigned to me, I can bear it. I can handle it. I can deal with it. I can walk with it. I can carry it. I need somebody to say, just say, if it's assigned to me, then he knows just how much I can bear. I was about to say, Pat, come on right out of here. Whatever your name is, Pat, today. Let's ride out of here, Pat. I need somebody to dry your tears. Come on, play something soft. I don't care what you got. Straighten up your lip. Straighten up your backbone. Put a smile on your face. Say, I can bear it. Look at somebody, give your best preacher voice and say, bear it until you learn to walk with it. Bear it until you learn to worship with it. Bear it until you don't worry about it no more. Bear it until you think you don't cry no more. Because we've been made through. Okay, all right. I see my baby girl back there. She's reminded me. Sister White, 7 years old. No, she was 5. We went to Disney World. Took to Disney World. Y'all know what Taylor asked for, Taylor get. That's why she's spoiled like she is now. She's got a hand in my pocket. I can't get no money because of my baby. Go to Disney World. She's asking for this and asking for that. But there was this ride she wanted to ride on. But she wasn't tall enough to get on it. Andre, but if she would ride with somebody who was tall enough, she could get on the ride. So the ride is called the inverter. You know, Daniel, the inverter spins around, turns upside down, come right beside up, and the bottom drops out. I said, if she thinks I'm getting on that, she a new kind of crazy, because I'm not getting on that. She said, Daddy, please, I want to ride the inverter. So I get on there with her, Pastor Bill. It starts to spin. Yes, sir. Goes around. Yes, sir. Goes upside down. Yes, sir. Comes right side up. Yes, sir. Bottom falls out. Yes, sir. I look over at her and she's about, this is fun. This is fun. We get off the ride. And she looks at me and she said, Daddy, can Can we go again? I said, surely she's a new kind of crazy. I said, Taylor, you want to go in there again? She said, yeah, Daddy. I said, Taylor, weren't you scared? She said, no. I said, baby, how come you weren't scared? She looked at me and she said, because my daddy was right there with me. I'm sorry, y'all, but that's my word to somebody. Sister Allen, you ain't no situation. And the world is going to spin around. Come upside down. Come right side back up. But all you got to do is look up at your Heavenly Father. He's right there with you. One day, soon and very soon, won't be long, we're going to see you again. And I'm going to be able to say, Pastor, that's right. Listen, y'all, I'm sorry. The man came fishing. We got to catch some fish. Somebody in this room, you've been hurting. You've been hurting for a very, very long time. And you're ready to own that stuff. You're ready to own that stuff. Sing something, Josh. Sing something. You're ready to own that stuff. I want to pray for you. Where are you? You're in this room and you've been hurting for a very, very long time. And you heard the man of God say, that was an assignment to you, not to control you, but for you to be the master of